Crashes and cleverly placed cameras have already exposed some flaws and given us a better idea of where the teams have gone and are going in terms of development direction. We got to see the flaws of Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren and Mercedes. We also have shots of some diffusers and floor fronts, courtesy of Xavi and Sala-Stampa-Racing on X, all of which I'm going to go in detail and explain what they're doing aerodynamically. Let's start with the underbody of the Ferrari SF25. Picture courtesy of Lewis Hamilton's crash at Monaco's third practice session. Looking at the top, we can see the floor fences here, which are not that long. They are of an average length compared to the likes of Red Bull concept. The main tunnel roof here looks to be lower than most of the concepts, possibly Ferrari trying to generate raw downforce using the ground effect. This design type increases the risk of bouncing, but the Ferrari engineers seems to have worked that part out. See these slight changes in geometry on the tunnel? These seem like local suction peaks, while around the boat section right here, this step section seems to be a lateral suction peak. The local suction peaks and lateral suction peaks act as a sort of flow separators, creating a low pressure zone behind which should in theory increase the vertical suction while reducing the risk of the floor bottoming aerodynamically. Next to the step, we can see this sort of large fillet here, which I believe is to improve the flow trajectory of the vortexes generated. Looking further back, we can see clearly no kicks around the keel section. Clearly the team has maintained the SF24's Monza solution, which saw the team abandon the use of kicks around the keel section. This concept applied by Ferrari is a downforce monster on paper, and that actually explains to us what the actual problem is with the SF25 at the moment. The car is generating a downforce load, which the internal suspension mechanics seemingly is not able to handle adequately in terms of load support and ride height control, while also providing spring and dampening rates to keep the tyres in the right operating window. So this surely seems to be an issue with the car's rear suspension, and the next update coming to the rear end mechanics, if executed successfully, could allow them to set the car low again and unlock 2 to 3 tenths of extra pace from the car. Looking at Red Bull's floor next, you can see this boat section here, and you can see the kicks next to the boat section here, which is in place to generate peak load. On this image, you can kind of see as well the depth of the tunnel roof here. Comparing the RB21's floor with the SF25, you can clearly see that the Ferrari roof is way lower than the Red Bull's, which just shows how much different of a concept Ferrari are following. Moving on to the Mercedes underfloor, this picture from Sala-Stampa-Racing is not that revealing considering the angle, but we can see here around the boat section the team implementing a step for airflow expansion, similar to rival teams. Looking at the floor fences of the McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull cars, 2 teams have gone in one direction while the other 2 have gone in another. Looking at the first fence close to the T-tray, all 4 teams have this cutout on the bottom, be it with different sizes. I see this cutout as a drag-reducing aspect of the floors. They do generate some vortices as well, but that will be moving towards the floor edge to improve floor seal. Looking at the second fence elements of the Red Bull and Ferrari, they do extend up beyond the upper floor surface, generating a significant amount outwashing vorticity. The fourth fence element on the McLaren and Mercedes is very different to that of the Ferrari and Red Bull cars. You can see this cutout here on the Mercedes and McLaren, both teams trying to shed some drag while generating a small vorticity, while the outermost fourth fence on all 4 floors do extend beyond the upper floor surface, generating critical outwashing vorticity. The McLaren has a distinct feature when compared to the rest. That's how thick and beefy their floor's leading edge is compared to rivals. Looking at the floor fences from a side-on view, we can see the differences I mentioned early on, like the second fence on the Red Bull and Ferrari extending beyond the floor's upper surface, generating outwashing vorticity. Also, each team has the outermost fence designed to their own interpretation, generating some vorticity while guiding the airflow over the side impact structure bulge towards the diffuser. Looking at the floor edge of the top 4 next, we can see very different concepts applied by each team. Looking at the MCL39's floor edge, you can see this extractor profile has 2 main channels generating vortices to help seal the underfloor. Behind the 2 main channels, McLaren's engineers have added 3 smaller channels in, which I do believe from their positioning does generate some load while generating smaller yet stronger vorticity. Combine all currents generates a very strong edge seal which should prevent any spillages and losses. Ferrari's floor edge, while in terms of design looks very similar to the McLaren, the functioning is very different. Looking at the entire profile from here to here, the entire piece with its appendages acts on one single piece of wing which generates downforce while extracting fluid flow from the underbody. The upper surface of the edge wing is curved in a way to move flow upwards, thus generating loads. while the extractor has 3 channels generating powerful vortices along the edge to generate a strong seal. Looking at Red Bull's floor edge design, the team has continued with its 2024 concept. The RB21's edge extractor has a dual role, to extract the fluid from the floor more effectively and at the same time generate downforce. The RB21 takes the design to the extreme, as the first appendage is broken into 2 sections to boost the upwash effect. These extractors direct the airflow with the direction of the current lines, helps generate greater local pressure to generate powerful vortexes to help seal the floor from turbulences such as front tyre wake, hence provides a much cleaner airflow towards the diffuser's top. Also, the extractor channels are not spaced equally, which I believe is the team's way of generating differing strengths of vortices to generate a strong floor edge seal combined. Looking at the Mercedes floor edge next, the team has moved forwards with its 2024 concept, but has made significant revisions. This image is from the Canadian Grand Prix, where the team made revisions to the floor edge, so this is the latest spec. The first appendage of the extractor is broken into 2 parts similar to the Red Bull design, but less extreme on the Merc. The extractor has 8 channels, the most used by any team. The sole purpose of the extractor on the W16 is to extract airflow from underneath the car, use that fluid flow to generate power vortexes to seal the underfloor to limit the entry of turbulent and harmful airflow into the diffuser. Moving on to the diffusers next, between the top 4, McLaren by far has the most complicated diffuser design, while Red Bull comes in second. Looking at McLaren's diffuser, the first detail you can see is how deep and rounded the tunnel is. We can see McLaren have incorporated 2 steps, one around the boat section, while the other is around the keel expansion. McLaren are focusing more on generating outwash around the corner, while preferring to use an expansion around the centre to reduce aero losses. Looking at the W16's diffuser next, we can see the keel expansion and the step around the boat section. What's interesting are these 2 bulges on the diffuser, while there is a bump on top of the diffuser as well. The bulges on the diffuser looks like pressure zones, meant to accelerate airflow using differences in pressure to generate more rear-end downforce. The Mercedes diffuser has a central expansion, which creates additional pressure support within the area, reducing losses. Looking at Red Bull's diffuser next, Red Bull have 2 diffuser specifications in use. One has a hybrid diffuser keel with a stepped expansion on, while the other spec has a simpler keel expansion. Quality of both pictures are not that great to see more details on Red Bull's diffuser. Finally, looking at Ferrari's diffuser, the updated spec from Bahrain, Ferrari are focusing more on generating outwash around the corner, while preferring to use an expansion around the centre to reduce aero losses. There is a lip around the keel area, which most likely releases 2 counter-rotating vortices exchanging energy in some beneficial way. It appears that this injection of vorticity is enhancing the diffuser's vertical and lateral expansion. This curvature around here is very interesting, but I'm not exactly sure of its purpose. If you guys have any idea, share it with me in the comments section. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did the best I could to provide you guys with a detailed analysis with the images I had access to. A huge shout out and thanks again to Xavi at Xavi Gazquez and to Sala-Stampa-Racing, both on X, for sharing these incredible pictures on their socials. So, what's your opinion about each team's development potential? Which team do you think still has the most to exploit with their flaws this season? I am very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comment section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads to keep yourselves up to date about the 2025 Formula 1 season.